Howdy, welcome back to the shop. Today we're going to be trucking along on this, and I'm going to make an adapter to mount the handle onto this shaft. Now you might recall that originally this shaft had a little flat milled on it, and this handle would ride on that flat, and that's what held her to the shaft here, was this flat. Well, I don't really like that. The reason I don't like it is your handle is going to gall up them threads and tear them to thunder. And I went and sourced some new metric jam nuts for this instead of those little junky ones. So here's the original nuts that held that shaft. You had these little jam nuts here, and I guess I could have made a spanner for these, but I don't like being dedicated to a part that I cannot replace without having to, mill it and make it, especially something as simple as a stupid nut. I mean, that's just, I don't like that. So I just got some out-of-the-box standard jam nuts. I can't even remember what size they are now, but they're metric. So what I aim to do is make a collar that once your nuts here are on and jammed together and set with the proper backlash on your worm shaft, I'm going to make a collar that will thread down on here and give me about, well, whatever a regular old 8mm metric nut is, about a 1/4 inch of threads sticking off. I'm going to thread a collar down on here, leave about a 1/4 inch of threads, put a metric nut on it, and that collar is going to be where our handle will ride. And that way, if the collar gets damaged, which it won't, but if it did, I can throw it away, make a new one, and I'm not galling up any threads. I'm not destroying something that's hard to replace. I'm just, if I destroy something, it's easy to replace. And I'll also modify the regular turny handle with just a similar setup to where it just jams down on there, and then it's got a lock nut on the end of it, and we'll modify that later. But right now, let's make this collar. So here we are set up in the lathe. I've got a piece of 3/4 inch grade 8 bolt in there. That's what I'm going to use for material on this job. So I'm just going to drill it and tap it for M8 by 1.25, and I'm going to drill it for with I think it was a G golf size drill bit, and that's about it. You guys seen drilling and tapping, so you can join me later. So we're set up over here on the mill, and I've got my spindexer set up, my little 3-jaw in there, and all I need to do is reach over here and find the edge of this, and then step over, I think 3/8 is what I decided. Step over about 3/8 of an inch and just start whittling that down. And that's all I'm going to do is just go back and forth and whittle it down 3/8 wide. And probably going to leave it at 7/16 thickness through there. And, it is what it is. There's my touch off. Zeroed my DRO back off of her. Oh, and I do have a 1/2 inch end mill in there. Okay, I need to come over 7/16. It's 4375. That's close enough. I need to kick my speed up. I can't see nothing with the camera in the way. You get the idea. Well, I gotta admit, this has not been going well for me. I assumed that I had a sharp end mill, but I didn't, and so I've been spending some time with the grinder trying to figure out how to sharpen an end mill, and I am terrible at it. I guess I need to go to the Stefan Gottswinter School of End Mill Sharpening. But I do have a flat on there, and it is 7/16, and it looks like crap. I mean, things were bouncing and chattering, and anyway, so originally this was 7/16 wide, and I don't know where I came up with that at, but I actually need it to be just under a 1/4 inch wide, or actually just over 1/4 of an inch wide to fit this, because I don't want to come all the way through this piece here. I want this to be underneath of here, so when I clamp down on this, it actually clamps to the seat. So anyway, we got that sorted. Next thing to do is step over here and part this rascal off, and we'll get it off of the lathe and quit cussing at it. So here I've got the arm set up in the mill. I've got a 5/16 end mill in there, and I'm aiming for a 7/16 hole. So if I take a 5/16, pretty much find the center of the existing hole and step over about a 1/16 of each way, I end up with pretty close to 7/16. So what I've done is I've went about 2/1000 both sides oversize, milled the hole out, and now the little nut fits down in there. So I'll take our part out of here, and I'm going to hit her with a file and get all these little burrs off of it, and go back to the workbench. Well, here we go. This is this part assembled. Got a nice sliding fit. Not bad at all. Locks in there pretty good. With just not very much force, which is good. Now, my pin, as you can see, is too short. That's no big deal. Always make a little bit longer pin. I'm okay with that. The next thing that I need to do on this is figure out what I'm going to do about the sector arms and make a pin, and I can make all of that stuff. I need the sector arms to make the pin, and I need the pin to make the sector arms, so I know how to make them work together. And here's what I mean. The original sector arms, they have a taper here at the end, which they don't even look like they fit these wheels. So they have a taper or chamfer on the inside edges of them. But when you get up to the inner holes here, your pin won't fit. You know, that's kind of screwball. So I think what I'm going to do, I'll remake these, and I think I'll make them out of 1/4 inch material, probably 1/4 inch steel, just so that they've got some weight to them. I like things with weight. So I'm going to make them probably out of 1/4-inch steel, and the actual arms, I think I'll make them out of, I'll taper them down, or not taper them down, but mill them down to about 1/8 of an inch thick. That I might change my mind on that a few times. These do actually stay adjusted correctly, so their little lock that they've put on here is great. I don't have no troubles with it, but there's nothing that retains this down. If you'll remember, there's no drag on the sector arms. They just kind of flop to the bottom. So there is a snap ring groove here, and there was a little clip that clipped on there, and I'll utilize that snap ring groove, and I'll probably, whatever I make, I will make it to where an O-ring fits underneath the snap ring groove, or maybe I might be able to find a Belleville washer to go underneath of it, or a wavy washer to go underneath of it, to give me some preload down. But we'll do that on a later date. The next step that I got to do today is get a handle made, or get an adapter to where the factory handle fits on this. So that's what we'll look at right now pretty quick. Well, here is the casting of the original handle on this. So I think what my plan is here is, I believe I will bore this all the way out to where I've just got one straight hole through the middle here. And then I think I'll just make me a bushing that presses down in the hole with threads on the inside of it for that. That way I can thread this up on there and just secure it, run it down tight, and then secure it with a nut to where it doesn't have lash in it. And I think that will be the hot ticket item for that. So join us on the next episode on the same bat time and the same bat channel, and we'll break this thing. Until then, y'all take care, drive safe, and watch for deer.